Welcome back in, everybody, to another One Piece spoiler video. Today, we're here to talk about chapter 1186. And you know the drill. If you haven't read the spoilers for yourself yet, I'll be linking it down in the pinned comment right down there. So if you want to check it out for yourself, feel free to do so. Because today, as per usual, we're here to yap. And boy, does it feel good to yap. Because it's been a minute since we've had a One Piece chapter. And good news, but there's no break next week. You guys might be saying, Sai, that's obvious. Dude, we've been getting chapter break for a minute. So it does feel good to know that we're at least getting 2 chapters back to back. So getting right into it, we got a cover page. I'm not too sure if it's canon or not, but it is young Loki drawing Ida. Cute stuff. Again, don't know if this is the start of a brand new cover page story, or if this is simply a fun doodle. I'm leaning towards fun doodle, but it does seem more Elbaph oriented, so I wanted to bring it up. So, first plot point of the chapter, but we learn that Gunko did kill her father, King Leuven, to end the war in Esperia Kingdom. But we all know deep down that that is not the reason why she killed her father. And if anything, this is what we learned about last chapter, because when Brooke walked into the room, Gunko said, "Hey, Brooke, aren't you happy? The war is over." And it's like, okay, there's more to the story that we're just simply not getting right now. But I do feel like by the time we end Elbaph, by the time we free Shuri, if that's possible, we will get her perspective. We will learn why they actually came here. We'll learn why Shuri got dummy reversed and all that good stuff. But for now, it does look like Oda is keeping us in the dark. And of course, when it comes to ending the war in Esperia, it's like, all right, Shuri, look around you. The war's already over anyways. You know, Esperia is already on fire. It's already crumbling. If you're doing this to stop the war, you failed. So, on to the next plot point, probably the biggest plot point of the chapter. Guys, all the theories turned out to be true. The pole never lies. But the God Knight in the background is indeed a man-mayor knight. And not just that, but he's also Shuri's biological father. His name is GROWLER. Yeah, GROWLER. He sounds like a Pokemon, man. I'm kind of just imagining Arcanite right now. But yes, GROWLER is his name, and we see that not only is he her father, but the man-mayors all, or at least 2 for 2 right now, have heterochromia eyes. That is a trait of the family. Which does make a lot of sense, because if you go back to God Valley, oh my god, there was 4 to 5 panels of the man-mayor girl with their eyes covered. Garling, we saw him. We had like this skull guy. We had a Yeti. We had so many other God Knights whose eyes dash facial designs Oda didn't hide. He only hid hers. Why is that? Well, it's because she would have heterochromia eyes, and we would know that Shuri is instantly a man-mayor by birth. So that is pretty fascinating. And as far as the name goes, I think the reason why we call her Gunko current day is because that's simply what her real father named her, right? Shuri is the name Candel and Leuven gave her, but Gunko is probably the name that this guy has given her instead. So some big stuff here. This does confirm the timeline as well, that yes, the guy showed up to Esperia. He did the deed with Candel. She got bedridden - sick. Leuven married her, and then very shortly afterwards, boom, Shuri is born. Now the big question just becomes, was this a Ginny situation? I know. I'm going to go into conspiracy theorist mode real quick. I promise it's not going to be that long. Just a little bit of copium. But there is still a chance Candel is bad. If we're going with the theory that she is alive and she's evil, there's a chance this might have been consensual. And again, we do not see Shuri's POV. We do not see this guy's POV. We don't know why, at least in the brief spoilers, why they came to Esperia. Maybe it was all a plan. Maybe this was all plotted out in advance. We have no idea yet. And the reason why we have no idea is because of the next plot point, where we see this flashback end abruptly. Because Gunko, while Brooke is in shock, she goes in and stabs Brooke in the head, and then she leaves the kingdom with her father. Bro. Yeah. I'm assuming this is how Brooke gets the head scar. It is a deep emotional wound as well as a physical wound. And Brooke said this event was so traumatic, he thought that this was just a dream. Which makes sense, but at the same time, it's like you wake up and boom, you're in the room, you see your dead big brother, you see the fallen kingdom, and it's like, okay, that dream came true, man. So yes, that is where we end the flashback, and now we go back to current Elbaph. And I'm curious to see what Brooke's takeaway was from this flashback, because the reason we went into it is because Brooke has no idea what to do with Shuri. Jinbei said, hey, Brooke, is she an enemy or is she an ally? What do we do about this? And then Brooke starts talking about Esperia. And it's like, okay, now that Brooke has revisited all of these memories, what do we do now? Do we help Shuri? Do we thaw her out of the ice? Do we fight her? I do think that Brooke, because he sees Domiverse here on the island, he does want to talk to her. But the question becomes how? Because Shuri, even if she does thaw out of the ice, even if we send Imu packing all the way back to the Holy Land, she's still a Knight of God with a tier 2 Abyss mark. Imu could simply do what he did to King Harold and control her. He can possess her. So it's not as simple as, oh, we'll just get Imu off the island and then we can talk to Shuri. That's not the case. We still have to figure out a way to bypass the mark of the Abyss, or a way to force Imu to get rid of her mark, which I don't think that would end up too well either, because we saw what happened to Saint Saturn. Unless Gunko just turns into an old lady, it's like, okay, I don't know if that's ideal. But yeah, you know, the Shuri question pops up again. I really do hope that since we didn't get it here, we'll get her perspective on what happened afterwards at the end of Elbaph. I would love, again, to know why they attacked Esperia. Was it simply to get her, Growler's daughter? Or was there a bigger plot at play? Why was Marcus Mars there? What does Imu want with that place? Those are all still big questions left up in the air. And again, why does Shuri seemingly have eternal youth while the other God Knights don't? What makes her that damn special? We'll see. We will see. So, on to the next bullet point. I know I yapped a lot right there, but we see that Imu is doing that thing again. He's yapping. Guys, he cannot help it. Brother, you let an old man out into the wilderness. He's just yapping about his war stories. He cannot stop, man. We see that Imu starts talking about things from 800 years ago. Why even have the poneglyphs? Just take out Imu for a drink, man. Yeah, Imu starts blabbering, but at the end of the chapter, we see that Luffy has finally finished eating, and he arrives at the battlefield where Imu and Loki are, and the first thing Luffy does is that he punches Imu in the face, similar to how he punched Charlos at Saboti. And according to Redon, this isn't Gear 5th. This isn't Goofy. This is just base Luffy instead, hitting Imu with advanced conquerors and advanced armament. Peak, dude. I am down for the fights. We are finally back at it, boys. And it's so funny because no matter what Oda did next, in my opinion, would be a win. If Oda continued the flashback and we got more of Shuri's perspective, W's. But if we go back to Elbaph and we get the fights, that's also a W, man. I am excited. I don't think we're going to continue the Luffy versus Imu battle too much longer, though. And that's simply because of the ordering that Oda usually tackles these fights in. Luffy is always the big bad finale. But until we get there, we do have to tackle the Zaza fight, the Killingham fight, the Summers fight. Those fights still need to be wrapped up. And then, of course, we still have to figure out what to do with Shuri, too. So there are still a lot of things to tackle before we see Luffy versus Emu go all out. I'm sure we'll get like snippets here or there, kind of like Luffy versus Kaido. But I'm not expecting a full-on Luffy battle come next chapter. But hey, maybe I'm wrong. I would love to be proven wrong here. So now I want to ask you guys something. But since we're now officially out of the flashback, which fight are you looking forward to the most personally? Because we got a lot here, man. We got Sanji versus Maki Demon Mode God Killingham. We got Zoro versus the Lord of Vines Saint Summers. Zaza versus the Giants of Elbaph. I guess Zaza could be technically counted as a Sanji fight, but I feel like the minute he beats Killingham, Zaza just poofs into the nether, so we'll see about the Zaza one. Or are you looking forward to Luffy and Loki versus Emu? And with that being said, how long do you think Loki's going to stick around in the fight? Do you think he's on his way out now that Luffy is tagging in? Or no, do you think it will be a 1v2 or 1v3, because Ragnar's there too, for a while? I think it might actually stay a 1v3 for a minute, because lest we forget, but Oda hasn't given us Loki's hybrid form yet. It's still hidden. I don't know why Oda hasn't just given us hybrid form Loki. We can all imagine what it looks like, right? We've seen so many hybrid forms. It's like, okay, unless Loki is something crazy special, I'm like, all right, I'm just imagining Black Dragon Man now. Also, speaking of colors, Ragnar, his official colors are now out as well, and he is confirmed to be a white and blue squirrel. I'd say it's pretty sick. It does offset the black that is Loki. And having Ragnar be white and blue makes sense because he is literally an ice squirrel. Again, it feels like another Pokemon reference in a weird way. Which, now that I think about it, I think there is a squirrel that looks like Ragnar. It starts with a P, I think. I'm not well versed in Pokemon, believe it or not. That is all I have for today, guys. Let me know your thoughts on all of this down below. How do you feel about leaving the flashback here and now? How do you feel about current Elbaph? What do you think the takeaway from this flashback will be? And also, do you believe that we will get a Shuri POV? Or no, do you think she's going to be cooked and we'll just never get it? It's kind of funny because alongside the Shuri POV, we also do need the Loki Shanks flashback too. This really has become flashback, as some people call it. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please make sure to drop your comments and thoughts down below. I love reading through those. And of course, tomorrow, when the full spoilers drop, when we get more details about the chapter, we will be back and we will be talking about it. So stay tuned for that. Until then, you guys have a great rest of your day. And take care, brothers. Peace.